What's up, everybody? It's been a while. It's been about like 3 months since my last stream. Today we're gonna do something a little bit different. Just gonna be opening some baseball packs. I think the last time I did a card opening, it was for Nikkei or Uma Musume. I have some more Nikkei and Uma Musume cards coming in, so I might open those as well when those come in. But today we're doing baseball cards. Specifically, this is the 1989 Donruss. These cards are kind of special to me because this is around the time when I used to collect baseball cards when I was a kid. So I didn't get to do a lot of pack openings because I was a broke kid. And I remember at the time, especially this year, everything was all about Ken Griffey Jr. You had the Upper Decks, you had the Bowmans, you had Donruss, you had Fleer. Everybody went crazy for Upper Deck. And I just remember, at that time, every store, everybody was just going for the Upper Deck sets and cards, trying to get all the Ken Griffeys. Now, it's still pretty high up there. I was about to try to see if I could get a box of Upper Decks, but man, those things are super expensive. This box here set me back about 30 bucks. The Upper Deck boxes go for like 500, 600, I think. Just crazy. But I guess I could see why. The Griffey card, I think, in Upper Deck is specifically still super, super sought after. Especially if you get it graded and all that. I don't really care too much about grading and stuff. Like, this is not even really for collecting per se. Obviously, I'd love to get a Griffey, but this more for me is just I wanted to open some packs because I haven't opened packs in a really long time, so I wanted to see how this goes. I have a box of Bowmans also coming in for baseball. I bought some of those Allen and Ginter boxes. Well, not full boxes, but like the blaster packs to try those out because I've been seeing that a lot on online. It looks pretty cool to try for the hell of it. But we're going to try these Donruss packs. Let's see the best way to go about doing this. Try it this way. So when we start opening these up, and see what we get. I think the other big cards in this, there's a Randy Johnson rookie card. Greg Biggio would be cool to get. It's like Bo Jackson, a bunch of other stars in this era. Let's see. Puzzle piece. Davis. Jack Clark. Jody Reed. Lou Whitaker. Slick. Bill Wegman. Diamond Kings. Focusing, focus. Don August. Is it not focusing? Let me go closer. Andres Galarraga. Esquis. Daryl Boston. Billy Davis. John Fishel. Louis DeLeon. Nothing really good there. Work with me. Figure out how I want to do things here. Put you on the side there. Should be fine. I wonder if you can get a full puzzle from a box. How many pieces are there in a puzzle? I don't even remember. Pieces. 63 pieces. Okay. There's 63 pieces to the puzzle. This is focusing still. Got Jordan. Mike Devereaux. It's not. Ferguson. Spike Owen. Todd Frothworth. Ozzie Guillen was an MVP. I know he's a coach, but no Kirk Schilling. Tony Gwynn. John Moses. Todd Stottlemyre. Dave Valle. Manny Trio. Mike Lacoste. Got Medman. It surely has to be like not a rookie, I don't think. To be honest, I'm kind of glad these don't have gum. Gum is like crazy. In the old packs, man, I don't know. Andre Dawson, Rick Mailer. Like, I see people eating them, and I'm like, wow, I don't know. I didn't even like the gum when they first came out, like in fresh packs. Doug Drabeck. Benito Santiago. Is that a rookie? No. I think he's like 88 or 87. Cal Daniels. Oh, Mike Schmidt. Billy Hatcher. Billy Hatcher is one of my favorite Astros. Vince Coleman. I was a big fan of Vince Coleman. Bob Boone. Another Ozzie Guillen. A regular one, though. Mike Stanley. Oh! We did get Griffey. Yo! Sick. Wow. We got Griffey already. That's only like 3 packs in. Smith. Storm Davis. So I know, like, one of my favorite Astros growing up was Glenn Davis. I only know about Storm Davis because he's like Glenn Davis's half brother. Like, for some reason, that was like something that was on trivia, and so that's the only reason why I know who Storm Davis is. Wow, that's crazy. We got Ken Griffey already. I wonder if you can get multiple Griffies. That'd be crazy if you get more than one Griffey. Mookie. Dave Svem. Got Mike Aldrete. RJ Reynolds. Lance McCullers. Jose Canseco. MVP. So I guess they have like a regular card and an MVP card? Is that what happened? They have 2 different kinds? I don't know. Bob Forsch, Tom Bernansky, Dick Schofield, Diamond Kings Andres Galarraga, Glenn Braggs, Eddie Murray, Frank Tanana, Steve Sachs, Dave Righetti, Still can't believe you pulled King Griffey already. I actually wasn't expecting to pull one. Like, I just wanted to pull these for fun, and I was gonna be like, I'll just buy King Griffey off auction. Snyder. Jeff Lauser. Andy Hawkins. Dante Bichette. Marvin Freeman. Adam Peterson. What do y'all think? Y'all think Junior is gonna stay with the Blue Jays, or do you think he's gonna sign somewhere else? Kevin Brown, is this a rookie? I don't know if this is considered a rookie. It might be. He only played like 5 games. Kevin Brown is a really good pitcher. Terry Clark. Checklist. Steve Antiveros. Henry Witt. Dave Clark. Ricky Horton. Dennis Lamp. Just to date this video in case anybody watches this later on, like years later or something. I believe the Dodgers just signed Edwin Diaz. He was one of the top relief pitchers from the Mets. So they just got stronger. It was like their biggest weakness, I think, was the bullpen. So you get a top tier closer like that. Steve, what? Jeltz? Steve Jets. Jeltz. Rob Dibble. Current. Alan Amaker. Bob Kipper. Jose Alvarez. Mitch Webster. Mickey Sasser. Mike Moore. Cecil Fielder. Al Newman. Oh, Don Mattingly. Diamond Kings. Jesse Barfield. Alan Anderson. What do y'all feel about the Hall of Fame vote? It was just contemporary, right? Contemporary vote. So I guess that's different from like the regular vote. Jeff Kent was the only one to make it in. Don Mattingly did not make it in. Bill Murphy. All the steroid era guys didn't make it. Mill Hall. Dennis Eckersley. Pete Incaviglia. Danny Tartable. Oh, Sandy Alomar Jr. Rookie. Pete O'Brien. Dave Martinez. Mark McGuire. I like Mark. Charlie Leibrandt. Joe Carter. World Series hero. Mike Scioscia. Odell Washington. Lee Smith. Gary Pettis. And Robin Yount. So I'm from Houston. So that makes me a Houston Astros fan. Gary Pettis was a longtime third base coach for us. I think he retired though with coaching. was kind of sad because I think our current third base coach sucks. George Brett, Oral Hershiser, John Candelaria, Mike Greenwell. I think he just passed away recently. Alan Schrammel, Ted Higuera, Pete Stanchik, Kevin Seltzer, Diamond Kings, Steve Bedrosian, also Diamond Kings, Dan Gladden, Tom Hinkle, Jim Presley, Greg Maddox, Billy Downs, and Jim Gott. So I mentioned that I got a Bowman box coming in. I actually bought a set from a flea market, and it was funny because the guy sold me the set for $5 because it was missing the Ken Griffey card, he said. I was like, alright, that's fine. I'll just grab it for $5, why not? Dave Magadan, Alan Tremel, MVP card, Pat Perry, Bruce Sutter, Bob Brenly, Glenn Wilson. I'll finish this back, then I'll get back to the story. Dickie Thon, Mark Winningham, Bob Dernier, Dave Meads, Pedro Guerrero, Herman Corbett, Jerry Russ, Jeff Russell. So he sold me the set for $5, and then it turned out I was going through it because he said it was missing several cards, not just the Griffey. It's like it was missing like 2 or 3 cards. So I needed to go through the box just to see what was missing in case I needed to buy more than just the Griffey card to complete the set. So going through the box, I found the Griffey card in there. So I kind of felt bad because he sold it to me thinking it didn't have the Griffey card in it, but it turned out it did. Dale Mahorse? I don't know. Ricky Jordan, Jack Savage. Behind it. Mike Boddicker, Lance Johnson, Diamond Kings Kurt Gibson, Lloyd McClendon, Phil Campusano, German Gonzalez, Jay Buhner, Alex Sanchez rookie, Scott Sanderson, Keith Miller, Chuck Krim, and Francisco Melendez. Probably take this rookie off to the side. Why not? Maybe fuck it. Dennis Martinez, Carlton Fisk, Mark McLemore, Alan Ashby. I actually have an autographed baseball from Alan Ashby growing up. Todd Worrell, Juan Samuel, Tom Browning, Doug, Mark Davis, Greg Kurtz, Andy Van Slyke, Ron Gant. I actually really liked Ron Gant. Ryan Sandberg, Keith McReynolds, and Harold Reynolds. I think most people know him from being an announcer. I remember him from the Bo Jackson play, getting thrown out by Bo Jackson. Jeff Treadway, Paul Ossenmacher, Marvel Wynn, Rick Cerrone, Tom Pagnazzi, Don Carmen, Danny Darwin. Danny Darwin was a favorite of mine too. Dave Gallagher, Obie McDowell, Mike Witt, Nelson Santavinia, Ron Hassey, Steve Farr, Jay Bell, and Ron Robinson. Yeah, sports cards. We're doing baseball. Another rookie, David West. Griffey Jr. was crazy back then? Yeah, that's why I bought this, just to see if I could pull one, and I did. I pulled one, like third pack. I'm trying to see if I can pull another one, that'd be crazy. Rex Hudley, Walt Weiss, Jeff Montgomery, Dave Alderson, Rick Rhodes, Bruce Hurst, Pat Sheridan. You know what's kind of cool is like there hasn't been too many dupes. Like I don't know if I've pulled any dupes yet. Knock on wood. Rick Shue, Chris Bosio, Diamond Kings, Jeff Robinson. So, checklist. Mike Smithson, Mike Young. Then again, we're not even halfway through this box. I'm just still shocked that we pulled Griffey so so fast. Gary Redis, Carmelo Martinez. Like it's funny, like I remember some of these players from growing up watching the Astros play them. Darryl Terry, the Diamond Kings checklist. William Brennan, Tony Armas, especially for like the National League, because the Astros were in the National League when I grew up. Chris Sabo used to be a big deal when I was collecting. Juan Nieves, Greg Worthington, Fred Lynn, Alejandro Pena, Luis Guayo, Rich Yet, Gene Nelson, Jerry Brown. Did this set just come? This is from 1989, dude. What do you mean just came out? No, this is a retro old ass box. I just bought it off eBay. Tom Foley, Ken Williams, Johnny Ray. Ooh, Kevin Bass. Kevin Bass was one of my favorites growing up. Switch hitter for the Astros. Jose Akendo, Milt Thompson, Mike Brunley, Jose Lind, Scott Geraltz. I think that's a dude. That might be the first dude. Oh, this one behind it. Charlie Paleo, Les Lancaster, Randy Myers, Ray Quiones, and Mike Flanagan. Yeah, I bought some retro boxes because I wanted to try to pull some Griffies. And then I got some current boxes that haven't come in yet. I bought another Nikkei card box to open up. And then I got a box of Uma Musume cards coming as well. Rance. Malinix? It's a crazy name. Juan Berenguer. Whatever. Mike Greenwell. Ooh, Fred McGriff. Fred McGriff was good. Gary Gaetti. Gary Carter. Griffey looks like 20 to 30 unless it has errors. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really worried about that. Mike's got my goats. Rafael Palmeiro. This is pretty early in his career. Dale Murphy. Sad he didn't get in either. Rob Thompson. Oh, Barry Bonds. He also did not get in. John Kruk. Good luck on signatures. What signatures? John Kruk. That's pretty early in his career too. Eric Davis was really cool. He was really good for a while. Steve Bedrosian and a regular Mike Scott. Oh, okay, cool. There is no rhyme or reason for me putting these cards on these stands, just to let y'all know. Griffey obviously is going on there. I think most rookies I'm throwing on there, and whatever players I really liked back then. More of a nostalgia thing? Yeah, this is not going to make me any money. Like, I'd have to pull, like, 5 Griffies, I think, to make my money back. So I don't really care. Greg Gagne. Fred McGriff Diamond Kings. Check them up there now. David Wells. Far behind it. No, David Wells. Tommy Herr. Kevin Elster. Kevin Gross. Calvin Schiraldi, sorry. Dion James, Rick Russell, John Smiley. Sean Abner. Chris James. Chris Sabo, the regular one. Bill Doran. our second baseman before he got replaced by Craig Biggio, who I'm trying to find. Sorry. A little bit of a cough, so. The Weiss signature cards, those things are crazy hard to pull, I bet. Talking about in here? There's a Walt Weiss signature card? It doesn't say anything about that. It just says featuring Warren Spawn puzzle. Collect to complete the puzzle. Snap, we got Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith is awesome. Wally Joyner. Lido Perez. Oh, here's the rookie. Steve Cersei? I don't know who that is. He definitely did not pan out. Tim Raines. Jose Canseco. We got both the Bash brothers. I'm trying to figure out what this other card is behind this. Who's behind you? Melito Perez. Ruben Sierra. Frank White. Andrew Griffin. Don Mattingly. Wade Boggs. That's crazy. Mattingly and Boggs back to back. Guillermo Hernandez. Cal Ripken. Wow, this pack had good players. Greg Brock. Corey Snyder. Canseco was in that pack too? Boy, 89, you'd been psyched for that pack. Miguel Garcia. Andy Nizelik. J. Howell. Andy Madrid. Gerald Clark. Matt Williams. Matt Williams is pretty good. Here's a Warren Spawn card. Is this supposed to go with the puzzle? This is supposed to go with the puzzle. Greg Olson rookie. Kurt Schilling again. So this is a dupe. Scott May. Alvin Davis MVP. Nelson Liriano. Lance Blankenship. And Tim Laudner. Heard if you get cards or you get memorabilia signed by Canseco, he literally puts down Godfather of Steroids. It's crazy. Okay, this is definitely a dupe. Luis Aquino. Pete Harnish rookie. I remember when he was with the Astros. Ted Critter. Glenn Hubbard. Tracy Jones. Luis de los Santos. Bud Black. Jeff Hamilton, Al Morris, Tom Bolton, Daryl Evans, Mark Clear, Wally Joyner MVP, Luis Rivera, and Bill Long. Now I'm pretty sure we're about halfway through this box. Yeah, now we're starting to see some dupes. Scott Jordan, we definitely got. Mike Devereaux. Hippolito Pena, Spike Owen, Todd Frothworth, Ozzie Guillen, Tony Gwynn. There are so many steroid accusations. Well, I mean, there's a whole report. John Moses, Todd Stottlemyre. So it's not accusations anymore. They literally got caught. Manny Trio, Mike Lacoste, Doug Medvin, and Van Snyder. Yeah, a lot of those were dupes there. I think the biggest problem with the steroid issue is that it's not consistent with, you know, responsibility and punishment and all that. There's a lot of players that were on that list, and some of them made it into the Hall. So it's like, I don't see how you can punish some people but not all of them. That to me doesn't make sense. Like, either you punish them all or you don't. Like, you can't use that as a crutch to not let them in the Hall if you're letting other people that did the same thing get into the Hall. That's just my take on it. Willie Frazier. Oh, Craig Biggio! Let's go! Here we go. Craig Biggio. Tim Jones. Darren Dalton. So now I'm just missing, out of the ones that I wanted, Randy Johnson. Norm Charlton. Shane Mack. Tom Prince. Chris Spear? Spear, whatever. The car behind it. Ugh. Mark Lemke. Aldo Rooms. Barry Lyons. Darnell Coles. Pat Borders. Steve Lombardozzi. And Vince Coleman Diamond Kings. Man, it's all politics. Like, to be fair, I don't really care if Bonds gets in or not. I really don't. Roger Clemens, I would care more about. But, let's be honest, he was an asshole. Like, he's a fellow Texan, he's from Houston, but man, he was an asshole. So, I could see specifically why, even if they weren't blaming him for the steroid stuff, he might have not gotten in just because of that. I think it was just the excuse that it gave writers to specifically not vote him in. Dan Pasquale, I mean, Bonds too. Bonds was also an asshole. Jack Howell. So that definitely doesn't help their case. Jose Guzman. Carlos Quintana. Another rookie. I don't know who he is, but we'll throw him on here because he's a rookie. Jeff Parrott. Rick Honeycutt. Kurt Stillwell, Mike Davis, Jack Clark. I remember when Jack Clark was on the Cardinals. I don't remember him with the Yankees. Jody Reed, Lou Whitaker, Bill Wegman, Joe Ursulik, and another Pete Incaviglia Diamond King. Yeah, I'm happy to get the Biggio. I'm really happy to get the Biggio. Now, if I can get Randy Johnson, I'll be super happy, because then I'll get the 3 cards that I mainly wanted. Another checklist. Later on, I'll check to see if this is like a full set or not. Denny Walling, I remember when he was with the Astros. Mike Dunn, sorry, I'm always going to be talking about the Astros because I'm an Astros guy. Pete Smith, I remember he was supposed to be good. Or they thought he was going to be good. It didn't really work out. Felix Jose, rookie. I guess I should do it this way. Jeff Tettleton. Dan Gladden. Oh, Greg Jeffries. He was a big deal during this time. Everyone thought he was going to be like the greatest thing ever. So his cards were also up there with Ken Griffey at the time. Throw these up there. Why not? Actually, no, I don't want you covering up. I don't want you covering up Biggio. We'll get you there. Vance Law. Dwight Gooden. We're immediately covering him up. Jim Ganser. Mike Prukow. Sid Bream. The Speedster. Jones and Paul Molitor. I still remember Sid Bream racing around to beat the Pirates on Barry Bonds. I mean, I could see him getting in, and then I could see him not getting in, because they're just going to use the steroids as an excuse to not vote for him in. The checklists. Larry McWilliams. Mike Bilecki. Ken Oberkfell. Well, I can't remember him. Zane Smith. Jack Armstrong. Mike Maddox. Show. Sid Fernandez. Greg Reynolds. Greg Reynolds was pretty cool. I think I met him once growing up. There we go. Randy Johnson. So we got all 3 cards that I wanted to get out of this. That's cool. That's cool. I'm happy I got them all. Craig McMurtry. Tony Gwynn. MVP. Ryan Hillman. Doug Jennings. One of these cards is like not cut right. It's like wider than the rest. That is awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else in this set. I think Bo Jackson's in this. I didn't get the Bo Jackson. Oh, Glenn Davis! Oh, I don't have any more spots. No, I'll put you up on the keyboard. Glenn Davis, one of my all-time favorite Astros. Terry Pendleton. Chuck Finley. Actually, I haven't seen Nolan Ryan yet. Robin Yount. I need to find Nolan now. BJ Surhoff. Dave Schmidt. Chet Lemon. Tim Belcher. Neil Allen. Get out. Stuck or what? No. Just being stubborn. Corey Snyder. Dan Javier. Bouchel. Mark Biskin. Eric Hansen rookie. Mitch Williams. Wild thing. So there's 63 pieces. You get 3 pieces per. So I wonder if I can get the full puzzle. Like imagine I get the full set, full puzzle off one box. That'd be sick. Jeff Blauser. One behind you? No. Andy Hawkins. Dante Bichette. Freeman. Ernest Riles. Adam Peterson. Kevin Brown again. Jerry Clark. Checklist. Steve Ontiveros. Dave Clark. Ernie Witt. Ricky Horton. Oof, this car got wrecked. Dennis Lamp. And Ricky Jordan. Getting more and more dupes. I think that was before my time. I was more around the Oswald era. Yeah, that's in the 90s. I was definitely more mid-90s. I was around the time. See, this time period, we were okay, but not great. Mid-90s, we were pretty good. Dewan Ward, Randy Bush, Rick Aguilera, Will Clark, MVP Will Clark, Drew Hall, Andres Thomas, Don Robinson, Felix Fermin, Dennis Rasmussen, Ron Oster, Greg Harris, Ken Caminetti, Ken Hill, Blackjack McDowell, Ryan Harvey. Who was our shortstop? I think Craig Reynolds was our shortstop at the time. But man, I wish they would have kept that team together. I think the very next year, was it 90? Is it even? No, I think it was 91 when we got Bagwell called up. If we kept that infield together, that would have been sick. Caminetti, Biggio, Bagwell. Well, Biggio was the catcher at that. Well, that's still the infield. We had a lot of good young players around that time. If we would have been able to keep everybody, because like we had Kurt Schilling also, Steve Finley was coming up, Dale. Oh, I couldn't say his name last time either. Jack Savage. Yeah, these are dupes. Boddicker, Lance Johnson. Give me a dupe of Griffey. I'll take a dupe of Griffey. Gibson, Lance McClendon, Phil Capsano, Tony Pena. I remember when he played for the Astros too. Von Hayes. There we go, Nolan Ryan. Let's go. Nolan Ryan. Harold Baines. Scott Fletcher. Kirk McCaskill. Andres Galarraga, Eric Plunk, Brooke Jacoby. Yeah, pretty much once we called up Once we called up, what's his name? What was that pitcher? I can't remember his name. It was the lefty. Like, he had a couple really good years. He won a Cy Young for us, and we made the playoffs. Because the first one was Altuve in, I think, 2012. It might have come up before that, but I know he was the first one to come up. Ray Hayward. Tom Gordon rookie. Johnny Paredes. Todd Burns. Jose de Jesus. Because then we started calling up, you know, all the others. Tim Leary. You had Bregman. You had Correa. Kinsley Mullins. Wes Gardner. Eric King. Oswald Barraza. Juan Castillo. Diamond Kings. Bobby Bonilla. The guy's like eternally paid money. Jose Uribe. There's a guy in my office named Jose Uribe. He's not the same guy, but like I had just built a computer for him and I kept thinking about that. Like, wow, I've heard that name before. Willie McGee. No, not Hader. I'm talking about in the 2010s. We didn't get Hader till like a couple years ago. B.B. Brooks. Dave Stewart. I was a big fan of Dave Stewart. Bo Jackson, yay! Let's go. Let's go, Bo. Bo Jackson. Got Bales. John Tudor. He was with the Dodgers too? I remember when he was with the Cardinals. Don Slut. Marty Barrett. Rob Deere. Rob Deere, I know this guy just because he has like the craziest stats. Let me see if I can look at it real quick. Rob Deere was like a guy that batted under 200 but had like 40 home runs. Like, that's literally all he did was hit home runs. Can't I get you out? Doyle Alexander. 232, 33 home runs. 238, 28 home runs. And then when he hits better, 252, he only hits 23 home runs. Yeah, Dallas Keuchel, that's right. That's who it was. Darryl Strawberry. Neil Heaton. Steve Rosenberg. Yeah, he's trash now, but at the time, Devin White, those first few years when he came, he was really good. Gerald Young was a guy that we all thought was going to be great when he was coming up, and then he turned out trash. Joe McGrain and Kevin Gross. I remember that. Everybody was like so high on Gerald Young. He's going to be so great. And then we had Eric Yielding was another one that we thought was going to be great, and they all ended up trash. And I think the problem is, because those guys ended up being trash, is why we traded away Kenny Lofton. And Kenny Lofton ended up being great. Like, I think the reason they traded him is because they thought he was going to end up just like Gerald Young and Eric Yielding, and just be like speedsters that couldn't hit. And it turned out he ended up being a great hitter. I am so mad that we traded him. Traded him for a catcher. Gary Thurman. Like, I was upset when they traded him. I was like, yo, no, I think this guy's actually going to be good. And then, yeah. Willie Upshaw. Like, think of the team if we would have kept all our guys, man. Like, Biggio was a great leadoff guy for us, but he would have been a pretty good number two. Tim Cruz, like Lofton at the leadoff, Biggio 2, Bagwell 3, Caminetti 4. That's already crazy. Dave Elland, Jeff Robinson, Oil Can Boyd, Cal Daniels, Brady Anderson, the guy with the 50 home runs once and then nothing ever again. Glenn Davis, Diamond Kings. Like, our lineup in the 90s would have been so awesome if we would have just kept everybody. I'm so mad about that. Fred Tolliver, because I kept seeing like all these guys we traded to be great. Manny Lee. But of course, I know our ownership wouldn't have paid everybody. Like, we would have only had a short window to win. Dave DeCenzo. Keith Mitchell. Keith Mitchell was fun to watch. I think we're down to our last 4 packs. Willie Wilson, Mike Marshall, Rich Gedman, Dave Winfield. I don't think I've seen Ricky. I haven't seen a Ricky yet either. Ted Power, regular Darryl Strawberry. Terry Kennedy, Greg Walker. Diamond Kings, Gerald Perry. Danny Jackson. Bert Lylevin. Kelly Gruber. Oh, Gary Sheffield. Gary Sheffield rookie. Fortunately, I think this one's Priest. That sucks. Kelly Gruber. Ricato. Gary Sheffield rookie, but yeah, there's a crease. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of see it there. That sucks. Rich Gossage. Still salty about Charles Barkley. So, here's my thing about the whole Charles Barkley thing. Because Charles Barkley was good for us for a couple years. He was definitely on the downside of his career, but he was good for one specific thing. We only needed him to beat Seattle, because Seattle was the biggest problem we had. And this was before Utah figured out how to play us. If we would have traded for him the year before, at the deadline, that's what we should have done. We waited too long, to pull the trigger. Mainly because I was never a fan of us trading Sam Cassell. Like, Robert Horry, okay, that sucked, but I could deal with that. Sam Cassell was the bigger deal, because when we traded him, we didn't have a point guard. That was the biggest problem we had. No point guard at all. If we traded for him, even if we did trade Cassell the year before, we still had Kenny Smith, who could kind of run it. Like, you just pick up some veteran to be the backup, and Kenny Smith could have still ran point, and we would have been okay. But y'all waited the next year after Kenny Smith retired, and y'all traded the only other good point guard we had. Like, our point guard sucked that year. The Barkley years, we didn't have any good point guards. Like, Sedell 3, sort of, but he was old as hell too. Randy Kramer, Bruce Benedict. But like 96, if we traded for Barkley that year, we beat the Sonics, and then we go to the finals, and then we beat Jordan. Jeff Reed, yeah, I said it. We would have beat the Bulls. Dave Laper, John Costello, because Seattle couldn't beat Barkley. That was the big issue for them. Rafael Ramirez, actually I do remember this guy as our shortstop. Who's behind you? Someone's behind you. Bruce Ruffin. Hiligus. Kunkel. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else I'm missing or that I want to get. Greg Minton. I think Ricky Henderson I haven't seen yet. Or actually Roger Clemens. I don't think I've seen Roger Clemens yet. Wallace Johnson. I don't think I'm getting a full set out of this. Wallace Johnson. Dave Catterett. Ron Washington. Is this his playing card? On Washington. This is the coach? Israel Sanchez. Jazz games were kind of brutal back then. I mean, we had the Jazz's number up until the end. But I think that was more effective us getting old rather than them actually really beating us. Because we beat them almost every year up until the 2 years they made the finals. Nick Asaski, Chris Brown, Bob Walk, Andy Maldonado, Joe Bover, Rick Sutcliffe, Bob Ojeda, Mickey Brantley, Tony Fernandez, Kent Burbeck, Alton Fisk, still playing then, Jimmy Key, Kirby, there we go, Kirby Puckett, Ron Darling, and George Brett MVP. Now we're down to the last one. 5-time champ? No, I think if we traded for Barkley in 96, I think we win. I think we could win 96. After that, I don't know. Because I think Kenny still retires, and then we still wouldn't have a point guard. I think we would have won one more. I think we could have won 96, and then that would have been it. I don't think we would have been good enough to win after that. Jamie Moyer, the Eternal. Bobby Bonilla, the Eternally Paid. Ozzie Virgil. Rob Murphy. Dave Palmer. Tony Gwynn. Let's go. Tony Gwynn. Bob Nipper. Bob Nipper had like the coolest slow curve. Like he would throw this curveball that literally went like 50 miles per hour. But nobody would swing at it. Keith Hernandez. Cameron Drew. I don't even remember this guy. He's an astronaut. I don't even remember that guy. Charlie Huff. I actually remember him. He's a knuckleballer. Tim Wallach. Dave Parker. Brett Saberhagen. And Andy Allenson. That's it. That's all our cards. But we got the 3 cards we wanted the most. Greg Biggio. It's still not focusing. I gotta fix the camera, figure out how to focus this thing. I don't know why it's not focusing. Randy Johnson. Feels like appropriate closing time music. Thank you. Oh, Vince Coleman. Let me go there. Ken Griffey Jr. Alright, well, thanks for joining me. That was fun. We got some good cards. I don't know if they're worth anything. They probably aren't. I'm not going to get them graded because I don't care. But it's cool to have these. I have a box of Bowman coming in that I'll probably open, like I said. I have a couple boxes of Allen and Ginter. Then I got another box of Nikkei cards and Uma Musume cards eventually coming in. So I'll probably be streaming those once I get those in. I'm still playing Dokkan and all the other games, but I just haven't felt the need to stream them. Because I don't really play them as hardcore as I used to. Like a lot of the new stuff in Dokkan, I don't even know. So that's how things are nowadays. But I appreciate y'all popping in. I will catch y'all later.